All right, so right to the left, right there. See that door right there to the left? That's the door that Maggie came out of. Remember when Creighton Water said she heard the shots and ran to her baby, okay? Now you're looking around. That's out towards the back entrance is behind them. He's looking around now. There's the doghouse, and she died right by that doghouse. He's going to walk there in a second. You're going to see how quickly Maggie herself could have gotten there. And the problem is that she gets there within 5 seconds or so. One, two, three, four, boom. She's there. All right. So whoever shot Paul, you're going to hear a gunshot number one. She's going to come out. She's going to run out after she hears the first gunshot. She probably heard him scream, and then she comes running out. So she's at that spot within 5 seconds. Now you can see how quickly you can get from there to the dog kennels. You can say, well, someone went ahead and shot her. They had enough time to get there. No, they didn't have enough time to get there because they had to shoot Paul. Now you can turn around and see this is where Paul was standing, according to the prosecution, where he just pointed. The first shot happens. Now the first shot happens, and what? Maggie hears it because you're out in the middle of nowhere. She just heard her son scream. You got a shotgun going off. Now what? Paul comes walking out of the feed room. One, two, boom, shoot again, right? Now Paul is dead. The problem is that time took probably 3 to 5 seconds just to shoot Paul 2 times. Maggie is already at that spot. But let me go a step further. You're looking at the pellet, the holes in the window. Let me go a step further. You shoot Paul, it takes maybe 5 seconds, but now you have to drop the shotgun and pick up the 300 blackout and then run to this spot. You're going to see how quickly it takes him here in a second. You got to run 2, 3, 4, 5. So it takes him 5 seconds. So the whole thing maybe have taken shooting Paul. So think about it this way. In physics, it's called relative velocity. And all we're talking about here is physics, right? One is coming faster than the other, then they're not going to meet at the same time because they're not coming at the same speed. As I've said before in all of this, in my book, Defending Alex Murdaugh, Not Guilty by Reasonable Doubt, and in the new book by Juror 785, she talks about it as well, is that it's something that the prosecution never talked about. Why? Because you can't explain it. Why the defense didn't talk about it, I have no idea. But Dick Harpootlian doesn't call me, have me go through this with them, and I can show them second by second, based off of the prosecution evidence, that he didn't do it. Okay? You just saw in the video. To shoot Paul once, bam. Paul screams. Paul then walks 2, 3 steps out into the doorway. Bam! Shoots him again. That alone probably took 5 seconds, and I'm being generous here. 5 seconds. Um, then, if you're Alec, you've taken 5 seconds. Maggie is already at the spot. She's already at the dog house. She's already there. You saw how quickly, with your own 2 eyes, how quickly that man moved from where the door is at the hangar to where Maggie would have been shot and put down. Okay? Now, Alec is still at the doghouse. Now he has to drop his 12-gauge shotgun, pick up the 300 blackout, and turn around and run to the same spot where Maggie is so he can drop down at an angle, or he could drop down to a knee and shoot her based off of what Sled said, where the angle all the shots. That alone took 5 seconds. And I'm not even counting the time that he drops the gun and picks up another one. Okay? So now we're anywhere from 12 to 15 seconds with Alec. Maggie is already there within the first 5 seconds, maybe 6. But whoever the shooter is already at the dog kennel still. Does that make sense? Do you see it with your own eyes? How quickly that guy got out of the hangar into the spot where Maggie died, and the person who shot Maggie had to be at that spot. No if, no and, no buts. She had to, the person who shot Maggie had to be there. Why? Because she had stipulated all over her body, because the gun was so close to her. And it was wild shots, as Kinsey said. They're up here, down here, and over here. Like this was somebody who was surprised. Believe me when I tell you, and I have information based off of interviews and sources that I'm telling you, the person who shot Maggie did not know Maggie was in that hangar, and they were surprised. The reason that they were over by the doghouse and that the kennels were behind them is because Alec had just left with the golf cart and headed in that direction towards the house. So their eyes were focused on the house and where Alec was. Had they gone to the hangar and the hangar door, they'd have walked and turned their head and saw Maggie inside there, but they didn't. They just dropped their knee because they were going to go in and out, shoot Paul, and get out of there. But the problem was Maggie was there, and she was a mistake. Go back and watch this video again and again with your own two eyes, and you can see how fast Maggie got to the spot where she died. Then you can see how long it took to shoot Paul, not once, but twice. And it wasn't a rapid boom, boom. Otherwise, Paul would have died in the feed room. Paul died outside the feed room door, which means he came outside that door. That alone took 5 to 6 seconds. Now you drop the gun, pick up another gun. Now you have to run another 5 seconds. Maggie was there 5 seconds ago. Relative velocity, time, speed, distance in physics, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you. You could say, well, Alec killed the son and somebody else killed Maggie. I can't disprove that. Okay? I can't. But what I could also say is his t-shirt had 0 human blood on it, according to SLED. 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. Forget the high velocity spatter and what Kinsey said. It's not true. This SLED agent, Sarah Zapata, who's the forensic SLED agent in Columbia, South Carolina, said no human blood was found. 0 on his t-shirt. You know what was found was a little bit of chicken blood, which proves that the shirt he was wearing the night that the sheriff saw him was the shirt that he wore when he saw Maggie and Paul alive last, because he did what? He took the chicken out of Bubba's mouth, and he put it into that chicken cage that was right next to the dog kennels. And then he left, and Maggie, he went towards the hangar. Maggie either got in the golf cart with him or walked alongside, and she walked in. Whoever was hiding out into the woods saw that Alec and Maggie were gone. So should Paul get out of there? Well, that didn't happen. Don't believe me. Believe physics, believe time, believe distance. Travel. Believe your own eyes. Carmen Casca.